everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful fall time, autumnal Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we're going to be talking about some nasty little remedies out there.
We're going to be talking about
maybe
bullshit.
Things people like to believe that might cure your cancer or
your lumbago,
heart disease.
Basically, we're going to be talking about nonsense medical claims, and I don't know how to avoid them.
Of sorts.
We might get to that.
We'll get into something along those lines, but we're bringing up some stuff we've never brought up before on the show.
There's some fun stuff out there.
I think is really great.
There's some wacky stuff out there.
So,
but before we do that,
let's get going. Dan.
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly.
Bill-O.
He left the news, but he's right back in the news.
Oh, good. Yeah. Thank God. How we missed him.
Apparently, he's doing a web show called The No Spin News.
Oh.
You know.
Oh.
Because that's his whole thing. He doesn't spin a good goddamn thing.
No. He's
that man.
He's never about spin.
No.
He's never about an angle.
No. Well, apparently on the No Spin News, he admitted to the fact that he is mad at God over the allegations of sexual harassment.
Oh.
That he wasn't protected.
Yeah.
As he says. He says, am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him. I wish I had more protection. I wish this stuff didn't happen. I can't explain it to you. Yeah, I'm mad at him.
Yeah, he's definitely... That God is definitely a problem. Because it's getting to the point where a man can't sexually harass basically any human being that comes into his contact that has breasts without somebody taking him to task for it.
Yeah.
And really, where was God to protect him from what he was going through? Because really, the big question in this was... What's Bill going through?
No, he says it's horrible. It's horrible what I went through. Horrible what my family went through. The pain it brings to my children is indescribable. Indescribable. Yeah, but who's responsible for that pain, Bill?
I agree with you. That was horrible for your family. I'm guessing that, yes, your children are probably traumatized, depending on how old they are.
Yeah.
'Cause of you fucker. God.
Yeah, he accused the New York Times, which of course was the one that who first reported on exposed all his sexual harassment,
his
claims,
nastiness,
and the fact that the former anchor at Fox News had paid $32 million to settle a sexual harassment claim, but a month before Fox News extended his contract. And so Bill O'Reilly is accusing the Times of being, quote, out to hurt people with whom they disagree.
Oh.
I truly believe that these people at the New York Times are out to hurt people. They don't want me in the marketplace. That's what this is all about.
Well, I don't want you in the marketplace either, Bill.
Yeah.
But I will say this, man, pots can call kettles black, can't they? Ain't that just a thing? These guys, I'll tell you what, out to hurt people. You know, I have sat there and watched him interview people and just shred them needlessly.
Right.
Because they didn't agree with him. So, yeah.
Right.
That's your game, Bill.
Yeah.
So, suspicion always haunts the guilty mind.
Ooh,
as Shakespeare once said.
Good pull,
Thank
Dan.
you. Thank you very much. I am a Shakespearean actor, you know. I'm going to take us to Alabama, where there is a women's shelter, and that's a good thing. I think that we need to shelter. There are people who are homeless who need help.
Yeah.
And this shelter called Jesse's Place in Birmingham is such a place. A homeless woman can shelter there for a while, hopefully get herself on her feet, and then find her own, or make her own way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
However, this shelter, like so many Christian shelters, has requirements, and the main ones are you have to attend our church, which is funny because
while you're at the shelter,
prior to. Yes, no, while you're at the shelter,
so like there's something wrong with this church.
Yeah, well, there is something wrong with it. Here's the thing: these requirements are totally legal, but like, so we've got, so there was a woman who was at that church or was at that shelter, just wanted to go to church, her church that she went to, which was just down the street.
Yeah,
no, you have to go to our church. It's the biggest mega church in Alabama, I guess, and you have to go there. It's so that they can verify, because if we see you there, then we can't. Then you can't lie to us.
Right? Do they have like a special section for the homeless people to sit so that they can
the smelly section,
spot them,
the ugly section?
Dan,
that's what they're saying. That's what they're calling it, not me.
I don't know. It's right where your mind went. I hurt, Dan.
Oh, you tender heart, you. No, they probably. I don't think they have a special section. I would hope not. There's certainly no mention of that.
They really should. It would make the bookkeeping a lot easier.
It would.
Do a little roll call.
You're right. Yeah, you've got like that sort of 5-person by 5-person square that you just everybody go sit in that section, and then we can go up. Nope, Teresa's not here. Anyway, not only are they is church attendance required of these people, but once they get on their feet a little bit, meaning if they get a job, a full tithe.
The moment they get a job. Pays $7.25 an hour.
From homeless people. Wow. Like, these people, I mean, if there's one thing we can say, it's they don't have a lot of money. And it's not like this contribution is going to be that useful to the church. It's going to be a negligible contribution anyway.
Right.
But that little bit of money to the church means a lot to these women who fucking need every penny they can get if they're gonna get themselves into their own housing and
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this shouldn't surprise you too much because that should sound a little familiar to you. The Mormon Church does the exact same thing.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah, the Mormon Church, like, no matter how dire your situation, your financial situation is, but the Mormon Church has structures in place where, like, yes, you have to give us 10% of your thing, but if you're really struggling, we'll give you food and we'll give you this. No,
that's true.
We'll give you like. So I guess there's that, but man,
it's the tithe that pays dividends.
Yeah,
the one in the Mormon Church.
It just seems really.
You can get more back from them than you're giving, like a lot more.
Yeah.
Than you're giving in that little bit of tithe.
Yeah.
For somebody who's working minimum wage, or whatever.
Yeah. A Mormon, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these, who knows? I mean, so they're really, that sucks.
I mean, they're
providing shelter.
They can do whatever they want. It's their shelter, but it just seems antithetical to require these things of these women. It seems antithetical to them. What I would assume they want their mission to be.
The Lord just wants what is His, right? and then He showers you with blessings. You give Him His due, and it's just blessing after blessing after blessing.
I'm sure if you talk to these women, they'd feel real blessed.
I bet they would say they feel blessed.
Some of them would,
because they found this wonderful shelter, and they feel like they're getting back on their feet. Blah blah blah. Right?
Maybe. Yeah.
I bet they would.
I don't know. There you go, though. That's happening.
Yeah.
We need to get some secular shelters going. I mean,
there are.
Sheltering should be done by the state, really, because we should all be contributing.
Yeah, there really shouldn't be a need for the nonprofit sector to be providing these services.
Right.
Government should just be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should be taking care of our citizens,
and then we can also,
anyway. and then nobody has to be indoctrinated into.
How about we create also a nice stable society so fewer people?
Oh, that'd be
that'd wind up homeless.
That's just crazy talk.
Well, anyway, some news from Canada, Dan.
Oh,
the Jehovah's Witnesses there are being sued in a $66 million class action lawsuit.
Whoa.
Which the lawsuit claims that the Jehovah's Witness leadership, that the policies of the Jehovah's Witnesses leadership protects members who sexually abuse children.
What?
And this happens because the Jehovah's Witnesses don't really recognize, state
authority,
or civic authority or of any kind.
It's
like the Lord's authority is above all.
Right.
And so they, in these instances, we're talking often about, somebody's eternal soul.
Right.
That the elders are looking to protect.
It's this is a real problem. It's a genuine social conundrum, because I understand that point of view if you're a believer, but also no, you don't get to fucking protect criminals,
right?
Especially abusers, especially people who are destroying lives,
right?
Just because you feel like brother so and so is actually a good guy at heart. There's no reason why we should give him up to the police. We'll just counsel him.
Well, even if he's not a good guy, if he's otherwise been a good witness.
Yeah.
Right.
Pays his money.
Sure. I mean, I don't know exactly how all that works with the Jehovah's Witnesses, but they want to handle it as their own administrative issue.
Yeah.
With God, with Jehovah. And they nonetheless, these instructions are coming all the way from the top, from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. That's sort of the parent company.
Yeah.
That runs the whole shit, the whole show.
The dark overlords.
Indeed. Apparently there are at least 20 child abuse lawsuits pending against the Watchtower in the United States.
Wow.
And so this one's, of course, happening in Canada. There have also been lawsuits in Europe and Australia. You'll remember, I think we talked about it on the show, in 2015, there was an Australian government investigation of the Jehovah's Witnesses in Australia, and they found evidence of over 1,000 child abusers in the Jehovah's Witnesses congregations since 1950, and not a single one of them had been reported to police.
Yeah, that's a must-report scenario, kids.
Yes.
That's,
yes.
You gotta.
Almost even if it's required locally or not.
Yeah.
These people need to be taken.
There's a moral obligation.
Absolutely.
Here. Forget the legal obligation, which probably also exists in many of these places.
Right.
There's a moral and ethical obligation.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to be told. The government shouldn't even have to require you to.
No.
You should just know, as a decent human being, that you have to report this.
Oh, look, I've uncovered children being put at risk. Let's put a stop to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hey, I'm going to take us now. This is the year of the 500th anniversary of Martin Luther's Reformation.
Ah, indeed.
Of
yes.
The Christian Church.
Yes.
So lots of fancy goings on are happening in Germany.
Yes.
Lutherland, as I like to call it. And sort of, various celebrations and various stuff. Well, one exhibit that went up isn't necessarily pleasing everybody.
Oh?
And that is in Berlin, an exhibit sort of basically highlighting how well the Nazis used Luther's own writings to get everybody on board with the whole "we hate Jews" thing.
Oh, really?
Notorious anti-Semite this Luther fellow ended up being. Apparently not in his early days, but as he progressed through his life, he got less and less patient with these Jewish folks who kept refusing to convert, even though he was very clearly right. So, he wrote a book called "On the Jews and Their Lies."
That one.
I've
got a copy of that at home. Great read.
Yeah.
Awesome read.
So this exhibit basically has a whole bunch of different photographs of, the Nazi flag or the Nazi cross next to the Christian cross and just saying, you know, let's fulfill Martin Luther's true goals. Let's get all the way to the promised land of his extreme hatred of the Jews.
How is this going over? I mean, you said that it's kind of a little stirring some feathers. Right?
It's ruffling some feathers. Yeah, but mostly it's, you know, it's one of those things where people in Germany, I think, are used to sort of going, oh shit, yeah, that was us too. So like there's this whole I think a lot of them are just resigned to it.
But don't you think there has to be, at a certain point, some Nazi fatigue? Like, there's just got to be this moment where you as, like, a German, just has... I'm so tired of hearing about this.
Well, yeah,
it's been my entire life.
Except that then it bears pointing out that, for instance, Kristallnacht, which was the night of the broken glass, where they basically went through and just... They burned, I think, over 1,000 synagogues and... broke the glass, you know, broke the windows of just thousands of Jewish-owned businesses, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That happened on Martin Luther's birthday, was not lost on the Nazis, and was sort of heralded by Lutheran pastors at the time who were like, "We're doing it! We're doing it! Hooray!"
Right.
What a great way to celebrate Martin Luther's birthday.
He would have loved this.
Yeah, something like that. It's
happy birthday, Martin Luther.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
That's wretched. Wow.
Yeah, they celebrated the 450th anniversary. Like, we're celebrating the 500th anniversary. They celebrated the 450th anniversary of Luther's birthday in November of 1933 with a nationwide German Luther Day, in which the main speaker praised Luther's, quote, ethno-nationalist mission, and called for the completion of the German Reformation in the Third Reich. So
nice.
And unfortunately, he could totally back that up.
Wow, that's amazing.
So,
wow.
Happy Martin Luther, everybody. I hope we're all real proud.
All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, there was an article this week in the Salt Lake Tribune that caught my attention, and I really don't want to go through the article so much, but rather something that it was pointing to.
Okay.
The gist of the article was that for the first time, the LDS Church has issued a set of questions to be used in the interviewing of prospective missionaries.
Oh.
You know, those Mormon missionaries that they're just famous for.
Yeah.
The young kids on the bikes and suits and backpacks.
Yeah.
And,
it's what most people know of Mormons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so in order to become one of those, they, there's a little bit of a process. You can't just don a suit and go out into the world and be a Mormon missionary.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed to be a missionary, I was sort of under the impression that the questions that the stake president was asking me were standardized questions, because it was clear that he had sort of a rehearsed list of questions.
Yeah.
And so, as with, like so many other things in Mormonism, there's sort of this very standardized little thing, right?
Not unlike Nazism. They liked to standardize everything.
Exactly. And keep records of everything.
Yeah. Meticulous.
Well, I guess I was wrong about that.
Oh, really?
This is the first time that the LDS Church has issued a list like this, and I think after reading through these questions that they really don't want to have missionaries anymore. That's what I think.
That's the conclusion you come to?
Yeah. Well, there's some things in here that I'm just like, wow, people.
Yeah.
You're kind of nuts. I actually do think that it's well timed because, after a couple years ago, they lowered the age of eligibility to go on a mission from 19 to 18,
and they had a burst of
just a bumper crop
of young eager kids.
Yeah, and what it did is for a minute they had the kids who had been serving when they were 19, right?
Yeah.
Already out in the field. And then the kids who had been waiting to turn 19, they were now, going out when they would have been going out. And you had this whole year of kids who were now eligible to go. And so there's a flood of new missionaries went out, right? And it increased the numbers. Like got up to like 88,000 missionaries. And they were, doing their little Mormon brag thing about the numbers and how we have 88,000 missionaries. Well, that number's coming down.
Oh,
right? As it would naturally do.
As it would have to, yeah.
Right? Because you don't have that overlap of the two requirements anymore, right?
That's how math works.
Exactly. So that's coming down. It's coming down significantly, and I think they're taking a moment to make it a little bit harder to go on a mission.
Huh.
This is just my speculation.
Yeah.
That they want to hide these numbers in a moment when they know the numbers are going to be going down anyway.
Interesting.
Right? Because it is going to be harder to go. So,
what are some of the questions that might eliminate me from going on this mission of mine?
Eliminate you?
Yeah, I'm a
all
prospective...
16 of them.
Well, okay, there is that point. The first one.
Yeah. Do you have faith in and a testimony of God, the Eternal Father, His Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost?
Nope.
Do you have a testimony that Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son of God and the Savior and Redeemer of the world?
Nope.
Okay.
Although I'll bet that most of the people that are asked that question and answer yes couldn't define begotten.
Okay.
In that context.
Okay. Well, here you go, Dan.
Yeah.
Now, there's some follow-up.
Oh,
Can't just get away with yes, no.
Okay.
And this is clever of them. Because I don't remember anything in my mission president's interview. His was all yes, no's, right? Please share your testimony with me.
Oh, that's a very Mormon thing to say.
It is.
And most Mormons, I mean, that's as rote as yes, no. For most Mormons.
Yeah, but this isn't at the pulpit. This is
right.
Conversational between you and an ecclesiastical leader.
Right. Please share your testimony.
And follow up to that one. How has the atonement of Jesus Christ influenced your life?
Oh, my God.
To an 18-year-old, right?
I think...
And actually, quite honestly, a 17-year-old.
I feel like I'm running for Miss Utah all of a sudden. Well, I think that the atonement of God has affected my life in the following ways. I am a better person because of the atonement of God.
And there are children who... what was that one that went off the rails?
Yeah.
Anyway, how about this one? What does it mean to you to repent?
Oh.
Right? Not have you repented of everything. What does it mean to you to repent?
Yeah, okay.
Will you share your testimony about Joseph Smith?
Okay.
Basically, is the gist of that question. Let's see. Full-time missionary service requires living gospel standards. What do you understand about the following standards? 1, the law of chastity.
The law of chastity.
Ooh. B, avoiding pornography.
I feel like there should be a porn called the law of chastity.
And she's in charge.
Chastity is the is the sassy mistress of the bordello. Let's make it so. The new Patreon goal. We're gonna make it.
It goes through a few others, and then it goes on. Do you have any legal actions pending against you?
Yeah.
Have you ever committed a serious violation of criminal law, regardless of whether or not you were arrested, you were convicted, or the record was expunged?
That's are there any legal actions against you is interesting because suddenly it occurs to me this could be a great way to get out of the country if you're like in some trouble.
Right.
Smuggle yourself out on a religious visa and then you can just like chill for a while.
Now, I do remember some of these being on a questionnaire.
Oh.
Like I believe that one was on sort of the standardized questionnaire that you just sort of filled out. But this is the stake president with his powers of discernment.
Interesting.
Looking you in the eye.
Yeah.
And asking you the question. All right, here's one that's interesting that it's on the list. Have you ever sexually abused a child in any way? Again, with the whole regardless of whether or not you were charged, convicted, or the record was expunged.
Huh.
Which is dicey. I mean, like, that's rough.
Yeah.
I'm proud of them, actually, in some way, for, like, going straight to it.
Yeah.
And recognizing that, you know, an 18-year-old kid out in the world in sort of this very trusted position, and Mormons can be very trusting of missionaries. Right? Letting their kids just, you know, run around
that's really
some kid who actually has a serious problem, right?
One would hope that that's a disqualifying question. Like, if you answer yes to that, one hopes, we're not going to send you on that mission.
Well, it says, if yes, and the abuse has not been reported, see Handbook 1, blah, blah, blah. If the abuse was previously resolved, see Handbook 1, blah, 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 for direction.
Oh. So it's a choose your own adventure.
That one, I don't think that it's an automatic. It doesn't say if the answer is yes in the interview now and call the cops.
Right.
Have you ever committed a serious transgression? Blah, blah, blah. Support. Okay, these are all unpaid debts.
Now, there was one that you were telling me about earlier that would have affected me that I was kind of shocked by.
Yeah. That one's coming up, and I'll skip to that one. Have you ever been on medication or otherwise treated for any of the following conditions? Attention deficit disorder.
Yes.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Same thing.
Anxiety, depression,
Yes.
obsessive compulsive
Yes.
disorder,
No.
or autism spectrum disorder, including Asperger's. If yes, please explain.
Huh. Now, that's fascinating to me. Like, what does ADHD have to do? Are they just worried that someone's going to get a little flighty in their
No, actually, there's the appendix
that
that gets into these issues. And their concern about that is they need to know whether or not you're going to be able to study.
Oh.
Right. Because there's a lot of study, there's a lot of memorization, perhaps there's a new language to learn.
Sure.
And these things take a lot of attention and a lot of focus and effort and so forth. And just because maybe you couldn't do it on your own, there were also some things in there. Well, if your companion helped you, would you be able to learn these things?
Interesting.
Right. So it's not an automatic excluder, but
still, they're asking the question.
They're concerned, and they want to talk through it and make sure that you're going to be able to do this kind of stuff. And so, I mean, this list, it goes on a little bit. But what's interesting is if the stake president, in his use of his power of discernment, decides that he discerns that this potential prospective missionary, whatever, is perhaps not ready for a proselytizing mission. He could be, or she could be instead, called to serve a church service mission.
Okay. Sure.
So there's that.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I just don't go on a mission. How about that? that was my really good decision. That was probably the first good, really solid decision I made in my adult life. I'm going to take us quickly to I don't know where this is. Oh, Illinois.
Yeah.
Joliet, Illinois. The Roman Catholic Diocese of Joliet has, of course, lovely facilities, including a cemetery.
Oh.
Where a woman named Marguerite Ridgway is buried, in spite of the fact that she had sort of started to lose her faith in Catholicism by the time she died.
Oh. Largely
due to the fact that she was pretty rattled by all the sex abuse scandals, all the child sex abuse scandals.
Okay, yeah.
So her son recently decided he wanted to add something, a little je ne sais quoi, to her gravestone, and did so. So basically, he sent some money to them for the inscription, and wanted the phrase to appear on her headstone that would say, "She supported priest-rapist victims." Yeah.
Wow.
They weren't thrilled by this idea.
No. I bet not.
What's really funny to me is that so it's their thing, and they can make rules about whether or not you can add language like that to a headstone.
Yeah.
They actually came back with a very reasonable alternative, I think.
A little QR code that would go to a website that said it?
Yeah, exactly. No, what they said was, so this is attorney Maureen Harton of the diocese, who said, "This is not a subject that we at the Diocese of Joliet shy away from. It's a sad chapter in our history." Yeah, history. That doesn't happen anymore. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That we think about daily. They suggested alternative wordings, such as she supported clergy sex abuse victims, or she supported victims of clergy sex abuse. I feel like that's actually kind of reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just said, no,
Yeah.
you can't put that on there. We have those people here. We have clergy and priests here.
Yeah.
But no, instead they said, you know what? Yeah, that happened. She believed it. Let's just not say priest rape. I think that's
okay.
That was a little harsh for them. It's a little further than they were willing to go. But clergy sex abuse.
So how's the family feel about this? Are they like, yeah, sure?
Well, they're raising a little bit of a fuss.
Priest rape.
The father or the son who wanted to do this is quoted as saying, "I don't understand why this marker is controversial in the least." He says, "It states she supported priest rapist victims. Doesn't the Diocese of Joliet also support priest rapist victims?" Which
we don't that is not our preferred language on this topic.
Right, exactly. I think
well, the phrase, it's really just an issue with the phrasing.
And apparently it is.
Yeah.
So there you go.
They acknowledge that there are clergy abuse victims.
Yeah. Yeah. Sex abuse victims. So
That's
I think that,
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I say that is, I'm giving props to the diocese and saying that is a surprisingly reasonable tack to take on this. That's where I'm coming from.
Fantastic.
Anyway, others may agree or disagree.
And they can let us know.
You can write into us, kids, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
That's right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, but that's what makes it awesome.
Yeah.
And once you're in it, it's even more awesome.
It's great. And also, don't forget that we are back up with the video.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for the time being.
There was a little glitch in the middle there.
Something just happened.
But hopefully we're back up with the video. So go to our YouTube channel and you can see what color my shoes are.
Indeed. I almost said the color.
It
was like this impulse. Just be like, color, name a color. Hey, Dan.
Yes, sir.
It's time to play a little clip of audio.
Yeah, we like to do that.
Somebody religious saying something crazy.
So far, we have not had trouble finding that. We've done 300 and some odd episodes of the show. Still don't have any trouble finding somebody saying something crazy each week.
Yeah. Well, this one comes from, I think, a newbie to the show.
Yeah?
I don't think we've ever played this guy before. His name's Rodney Howard Brown, and he is the pastor of a very large church down in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say.
Everyone is very even-keeled in Florida.
Anyway, he was, just so that we can tie this in and make it even a little bit more pivotal, he prayed over Donald Trump in the Oval Office earlier this year.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
And he is something of a conspiracy theorist.
I'm going to say he's a conspiracy enthusiast.
Well, anyway, let's listen to see what he has to say.
Okay.
The false gods of Egypt and their prophets What are these people? What are these holy? They're prophets of the enemy. You know, I mock you. Some said, no, we must be nice so we can win them for Jesus. These people are full of the devil. These people can't even be reasoned with. These are not people that you can talk to, and they already have given their soul to the devil. Are you with me? These people go through seances. These people drink blood. These people sacrifice children. Somebody said they don't do that. They sacrifice children at the highest levels in Hollywood. They drink blood of young kids. This is a fact. That's why the next thing to be exposed will be all the pedophilia that's going to come out of Hollywood and come out of Washington, D.C. The human sacrifice and the cannibalism has been going on for years. Somebody said, oh, they don't do that. It's worse than what you think. You remember when the whole spirit cooking thing came out? That's commonplace, ladies and gentlemen. And many of the Hollywood actors that you go see on a screen, what you don't know, they bring a witch. They do a big seance right there on the set, and they worship devils, and they allow devils to come into them before they take the part of what they're going to act. It's a fact, what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a fact. He said it's a fact, Dan.
Well,
I don't know how anyone could ever contest anything that he just said.
And as he points out multiple times, somebody said that it wasn't true.
But it's a fact.
But it's true.
But it's true.
I can tell you, maybe that's why you and I haven't done so great in the at breaking into Hollywood. We don't know anything about these satanic rituals that they do. I've never sacrificed anything. Not even a goat.
Much less a child.
Not much less a child. Yeah, we are not drinking enough infant blood. Is our problem?
If we did, well, we would get our big break.
Yeah, clearly, obviously, that's the big next big scandal. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Maybe going to a place like Hollywood where there's work.
Oh, going there
for people,
like physically.
In the
Have you been there? Have you driven there? Oh, I can't. I can't be bothered. Well, we had some folks write into us, call into us.
Did indeed.
Might as well acknowledge them, I guess. Oh my God. No, Elise wrote in, "Hey fellas, I was just listening to episode 307, and I wanted to applaud Dan for broaching the subject of racism in the Book of Mormon musical. We might add sexism in the form of the naive girlishness in the only developed female character in the play. I think that's a valid point. Any critique of the African characters that I have heard is met with casual reference to South Park politics, i.e., these guys make fun of everything, or people focus on parody and satire and say the accusation of racism is reading things too seriously. While true, there is punching up and punching down, and issues of race and power are more complex than equal opportunity ridicule than an equal opportunity ridicule position allows. So thanks for stating your perspective. At very least, the issue of what roles black actors get in American theater can be considered once we bring up the issue of racism as relevant to our enjoyment of this theatrical extravaganza.
Yeah.
I think that's yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think black actors have been getting a very short end of a very short stick for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that's, as a theater guy, that's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a voicemail.
Okay.
From a listener down under.
Oh yes.
I'm just gonna let him say his piece.
Please do.
Hey, Fran and Dank. Greg here from South Australia. Love the show. Hey, the whole Satanist thing just reminded me of when I did a little bit of clinic defense when I was in the US in the 90s in Minneapolis. And, these evangelicals line their children up from smallest to tallest, with the smallest carrying a tiny coffin walking past this clinic. And we managed to block them out, which was really cool. And then a chant went out, which was, Satan has spoken, the clinic stays open. So there you go. But, keep up the great work. I love listening to your show when I'm brush cutting. That's basically what I do most of the time. So, cheers from sunny Adelaide. Bye.
Well, thanks so much. That's That's a great chant. I'm going to start chanting that in my daily life. Satan has spoken. The clinic stays open.
Yeah. Nice.
Hey, if that's what it takes,
yeah,
a little word from our Dark Lord, I'm all for it. Long as the ladies can take control of their bodies.
Absolutely.
Ty wrote into us, "Hey guys, love the show. I've been listening for a little while now on my commute to and from work. I'm an atheist raised in a hardcore a Catholic family. My wife is Mormon, though. I've been going to Mormon church with my wife. Oh, my God, you poor, poor man. For the past few years to be supportive. I dress up and sit there quietly. A lot of people there don't even realize I'm not a member. Sometimes it is really difficult for me not to say something and point out the ridiculous things they are saying. I believe my wife's beliefs are mainly just habit and indoctrination. She's been taught it since she was little, and it's ingrained into her. I don't think she even knows the extent to how crazy this church is, and I don't think she wants to know. It's easier for her just not to think about it. I was wondering if you knew of any tips on how to talk to her or any Mormon without being too offensive. They are sensitive about it.
Yes, they are.
I don't know a lot of other openly atheist people around here. Sometimes it feels like I'm taking crazy pills. It's nice to be able to listen to your podcast and realize I'm not alone. Thanks. Well, you're not alone, Ty. Not even in the interfaith marriage thing.
Right.
That's not something that you're alone in. Talking to your wife, though, is a tricky one, and one that may not bear the fruit that you want it to.
Yeah.
I look, we're not experts on this sort of thing.
No.
So any advice we give, take with a grain of salt. And maybe, go see a therapist and they'll give you better advice. I'm not sure. But it does seem to me that if you want to talk to your wife about religion, great, but don't go in with the agenda of converting her. Because that's just going to cause tension. That's just going to cause trouble. And it's not it's not where you need to be. Because your job is to love her. It's not to make her agree with you on everything.
Right.
So I would say, it'd be nice if she came to your way of thinking. But what I would start with is create space with her, enlist her in creating space for both of you to express your honest feelings about religion. And I think that if you can create space in yourself for her honest expression of her feelings, and listen with a careful heart, then she might be able to do the same and listen to where you're coming from, and at very least you'll understand each other better. If neither of you converts to the other person's way of thinking, at very least you'll have communed on opening to each other, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, I should be a therapist. That was great. Do not listen to me. Do we have some folks to thank?
Yes, we do. We actually have 3 new patrons.
Okay.
This week, we have Kevin, who's coming in at the faithful level.
Lovely.
So thank you, Kevin. We have James coming in at the Pope level.
Whoa!
James!
Pope James!
Wow.
Holy cow.
And we have Farty McPooper.
You made
coming
Frank
in
say it
at Venerable.
Yay! Farty McPooper. You made Frank say Farty McPooper. I'm so happy.
Yeah, so I guess that's how that works.
Yeah. So if you also would like to help continue our mission here at Thank God I'm Atheist, or if you just want to make Frank say something he's not comfortable saying, go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon tab and sign up at whatever level makes you comfortable and happy.
Yeah, all of that will work.
We are so grateful for all of our donors, and still, I assume, do we have the same Lord and Savior?
We have the same Lord and Savior this week, everybody. Angela,
our Lord and Savior, and we bless you all in her holy name.
Dan.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of what's the just bad medicine out there.
Your love is like bad medicine. Do you remember that song?
I do remember that song. Yeah, no, like sort of the stuff that people believe some pretty crazy things about what's going to cure their ailment, whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff for people say will help you with your beat cancer. You see these clickbaity things online all the time. This one simple trick cured my cancer.
Sure.
Click here, some clickbaity nonsense.
4 lemons and a garlic and you're fine.
Right.
You'll be fine for life.
And a lot of this stuff, like, it bounces around, and I get a little annoyed by it. Like, there's a couple people at work. I probably shouldn't really say this. but who really view this stuff very differently than I do. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to, in case this ever gets around to any of them, I want to say this in the nicest way possible. They trust sources that are very different than sources that I trust. And so they come to some conclusions that are difficult for me to swallow, and I just bite my lip and I don't say anything about it because I know I'm not going to get through with my worldview to them. Even though my worldview is based in science and is more testable and provable
and they're full of shit.
Well, I'm not saying that.
No.
What I'm saying is that they don't trust science. And in fact, that's actually kind of at the root of this. You'll hear people say things about big pharma or the corruption at the FDA.
Yeah.
And so they don't trust the system, the medical system in this country.
Because if a doctor were to cure a disease, then they wouldn't make all the money from treating the disease.
Exactly.
So there must be a conspiracy to keep the cures out of the market.
Exactly. Right.
So the big pharma and all the doctors can maliciously make their evil lucre off of us poor unsuspecting saps.
Right, exactly. And one of the big ones that's been kind of floating around for a little while that the FDA, for whatever reason, hasn't until just very recently touched is stem cell therapies. That are very unregulated and just kind of out there. And there are legitimate stem cell therapies.
Now, hold on, Frank.
What?
Because I've read about these stem cells, and they're real science.
There is real science about
You're using
stem cells.
science words, and that means it's good.
Well, that's the thing. The stem cell stuff sounds so fucking legit, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's easy for people to get a little lured in. Basically, though, because we have talked about homeopathy, sort of the anti-vaxxers,
bullshit,
the drawing connections between vaccines and autism, those folks.
Right.
We've never really talked about Gwyneth Paltrow, which I'm shocked somehow we haven't talked about her nonsense, but she's out there.
Well, I mean, and her website
craziness
Goop is amazing.
It's truly horrifying. I had never been to this website.
Entire things of supplements that you can take, detox things.
Well,
by the way, if anyone uses the word toxins to you, they're full of shit.
Yes.
If you use the word toxins, cut it the fuck out. Unless you're a doctor and you know what you're talking about. If you can name the actual toxin, you can talk about toxins. If you can't name what the toxin is that you're referencing,
just generically toxins.
It's just this overarching toxins thing. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know, Dan. Sometimes I just need a good detox. But nonetheless, and Gwyneth Paltrow with her jade egg thing, she sticks up her coochie.
Yeah,
right. Like, not cool. Not cool. I mean, this woman is unhinged when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah,
and is promoting this very anti-scientific view of sort of wellness and well-being and health and all of that crap. I mean, they have on her website, they have sprays that you can clear the air around you from bad juju.
Yeah, they have. You were showing me a psychic vampire repellent spray.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I mean, isn't that just mace? Isn't that just like you can? There's a lot that can repel any person, really.
This doesn't. This, Dan, the ingredients on this.
Can I just scream psychic vampire and just spray you with something? Is that even okay?
This is a unique and complex blend of sonically tuned gem elixirs, including black tourmaline, ruby, lapis lazuli, onyx, and garnet. Oils of rosemary, juniper, and lavender. And Reiki charged crystals.
So it's got rocks and oil.
Yeah. But it says this is embedded in the instructions. But it's just such a wonderful sentence. Spray around the aura to protect from psychic attack and emotional harm.
How do I even find the aura?
And then it said something about avoid the eyes.
Yeah, you don't want little micro shards of lapis lazuli in your eyes, I guess, is true. I wouldn't want that in my eyes. Tell me about the stem cell thing, though, because I am curious.
So there are, and this, I don't want, like, if you're at the doctor and he's talking, you have, like, maybe some sort of, like, you know, there's very specific cancer, or maybe you have like heart disease. Apparently these two are, and there might be a couple others that I just didn't see, but these are legitimate like treatments that have gone through, you know, rigorous testing and have been shown to have an effect on improving the condition of your heart.
Sure.
And improving your body's, I think with it was like a bone marrow specific treatment with stem cells. It was like a transplant type thing.
Sure.
That's for real.
Right.
That's real stuff.
That's all useful and medically and scientifically validated.
Right. However, a stem cell clinic, such as U.S. Stem Cell down in Florida, which the FDA just shut down.
Oh dear.
That is offering to, I can't even remember what it was. It was like blending all this like stuff with some stem cells that that they'd harvest from somewhere, and they were injecting them, intravenously.
Oh God.
To treat pain.
Oh God.
That's probably not a legit use.
Just
also, if the same place,
I'll just throw stem cells at you and hope that it fixes things.
Right. If the same place that is doing stem cell treatments is also doing ozone therapy, right? Or naturopathy, whatever this or that,
right? Run
screaming, because this is totally fake and bogus and potentially dangerous. There have been cases where people have had they were going in for like eye treatment of some kind with stem cells, and they were injecting the stem cells in and around their eyes.
Oh dear.
And then they end up having to go in and have bone surgically removed from their eyelid because the stem cells had turned to bone.
Oh my God.
Or another case where a guy had sort of this big mass of just bloody jelly, whatever, that had to be surgically removed because the stem cells, they didn't know what the fuck to do.
Right. If you just inject them into a location, and they may not be clean. Like there's like pure stem cells. My understanding is that like there's stem cells that have no programming
specialization of
whatsoever
or whatever.
But most stem cells are a kind of cell,
right?
That is just and so yeah.
Well,
you can't tell like heart stem cells go fix an elbow because they don't. That's not what they do. Right. That's not their job.
Right. And so the problem here isn't. It almost. I mean, all this stuff is just quackery and snake oil salesman type stuff, right? And because like legitimate doctors, legitimate scientists aren't going to go through this process. They're not going to be, hiding under the radar with this treatment that the U.S. government isn't letting us use. Right.
Yeah.
That's not the narrative of people who are legitimately trying to help you.
Right. And the other thing is that, look, Franklin, you and I are in no way trying to represent ourselves as people who know the science well enough to know what's okay and what isn't.
Not at all, in fact.
So don't think that we're saying that. But what we are saying is that there are people out there in the world who are absolutely qualified not only to research treatments, but to determine what treatment, like what medical papers are valid, and what medical papers are nonsense. Because there's a whole other problem here, which is that there is a series of science journals that have started cropping up that you just pay to get your paper into.
Oh, seriously?
They're bullshit science journals.
Wow.
And for an average layperson, it's going to look for all the world like this is a valid science paper that was valid science was conducted by a lab somewhere, and it has been published in an independent journal. And that sounds like all the sciencey. That ticks so many science boxes.
Right.
But no, there's a shit ton of these fucking journals that are just pay to play. You just pay to get your paper in there.
That's criminal.
And they don't have peer review. And so now it smacks
of being authoritative.
Right, exactly. And so you get like a doTERRA, or you get some sort of smellum company that is doing whatever.
doTERRA being an essential oil company here in Utah.
Yeah. I call them the Stinkies. Yeah. They come into town, they have their convention here, and oh boy.
Well, downtown just smells so wretched.
And
just walking down the street.
And they start, if you go to their website, they'll show you 1,000 different scientific papers confirming this, that, and the other about their claims about their product.
Right.
Well, guess who funded those studies?
Right.
And guess they can go to an independent lab, but the independent lab is paid by them.
Right.
And they say, hey, keep doing the science until it says this.
Right.
And that is not how science works.
Right.
And so and then again, they go and they publish in these so-called journals, and the trick here. So I guess what I'm getting at is there's a whole group of people that will sort through all of this nonsense.
Yeah, this is the tricky part.
Cut all of this bullshit for you.
Where do we find these people?
They're called doctors. And they'll just see you. They'll let you come into their office. They'll actually examine you. They'll hopefully be up on all of the new stuff. You can ask them, go ahead and ask them about, putting a jade egg in your vagina and see what they have to say about it.
Right.
Because it may be fine to do that. I don't know. I don't know what it's meant to do.
It balances your chi.
Oh, God.
And what enhances orgasm, I think, was part of it.
Well, I mean, the chi thing's
it
bullshit.
strengthens the muscles.
Is it like Kegels?
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's real.
That's what she says it does.
Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about that. But
personally, but why can't I just trust Gwyneth Paltrow?
Why?
Well, doesn't she have my health and my vagina in her best interest?
Let me tell you something. She's very successful in Hollywood, and you know what that means? Sacrificing and drinking infant blood. She's a Satanist, and I can't trust her.
This might be the one example where that's true.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't get your science from Hollywood. Don't get your science from a podcast.
Right. Not this podcast.
Certainly not this one.
There are podcasts.
Yeah, well.
Just have reputable...
go to your doctor. And guess what? If you don't trust your doctor, go to another doctor.
Yeah.
The whole answer is... I had a doctor once who told me some stuff that was bullshit. And doctors can make mistakes too. Mm-hmm. Get a second opinion.
Yes.
Talk to someone else who's unaffiliated with that first doctor.
Absolutely.
And that's how you do the checks and balances. Right. You don't go, oh, that doctor was bullshit. Guess I'll try lemons.
All doctors are bullshit.
Right. All I need is a master cleanse, and everything will be fine.
Never underestimate the power of cayenne, greatly reduced in a with mostly water, a tiny bit of lemon, and some honey.
Yeah.
That is going to get you all fixed up, Dan.
Here's what ails you.
Your innards are just going to be all cleaned out.
At very least, it'll
You're
cure
going to
that.
be in sort of this euphoric state while your body goes into starvation mode. Mm-hmm. But it feels great.
For a minute. Then it'll probably cure that cheery disposition you've always been plagued with.
Wait, my cheery disposition?
I'm saying you as the general you.
Oh,
I'm guessing that I know.
I was confused about my cheery disposition.
No, you don't have a cheery disposition.
How dare you, Dan?
See? Proved it. I'm just saying, if I did a master cleanse, I'd probably get grumpy. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know that I'd want to see what happened to me if I did a master cleanse.
Anyway, go out there and do good science, people, and believe the scientists more at least. You don't have to believe them all the way, but believe them more than someone who doesn't know anything.
Right.
That's the key. That's
so tricky, Dan.
It's so not. It's so easy. All right. Hey, listen, if you guys want to write into us and tell us how wrong we are about all of the things, you can do so. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number to do so is 424-666-8442.
Yep. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on that like button.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a great community of like-minded people, and it protects your privacy if that's something that's important to you.
Indeed. And speaking of Facebook, thanks to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the page, and thanks so much to Sarah, Danny, and Amy for their moderation of the Members Only Lounge.
And, of course, we have to thank, because it's great, the providers of our music, the Red Rock Hot Club, and Gordon Johnston.
Indeed. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. We sure do appreciate it when you do.
Bye-bye.